Hello, everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of Volleytalk Season 2, brought to you by Basic Sport. I'm Maithili, your host, here to talk about more data, more analytics, and obviously more volleyball. Just a quick recap about Volleytalk. Volleytalk is a show where we talk about sports analytics in volleyball with sports experts within the industry and also personal things which make them a better human being. Basic Sport keeps experimenting with new things, and today's show is all about the people behind the show. There is a lot more that goes on behind the scenes to make any team look good and function smoothly, whether it's the players, the coaches, the support staff, the logistics, the vendors, the player gear, the food, and a lot of and whatnot. Joining us to share their hard work and their experience is Mr. Rakesh Haridas from Bangalore, who is the general manager for Bangalore Torpedoes. Uh, then next we have Mr. Vamshidhar Gurram, the team director for the Hyderabad Blackhawks. And last but definitely not the least is Mr. Muhsin Mohammed, the team director of the Calicut Heroes. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. How are you doing? How's the energy after the auction? It's great to have you.
Yeah,
Great.
thank you
It's
so much
great to
for
be
having
back
us, Maithili.
after doing a lot of hard work. So great to be
That's
back
great. Yeah.
doing nothing today.
That's probably just what you say every day, but I'm sure you're doing a lot, Vamshi. Yes.
Yeah.
So, what
Actually,
was
the auction, we are just done with the auction, but the real game begins right now. Getting everyone on board, the foreign players getting on, and many of the players are new into this Prime Volleyball League, so
right?
getting
Definitely.
acquainted with everything. It's the real game begins from yesterday onwards. After the
Right.
auction, the next stage of the game begins. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. I'll just give a little bit of background about everyone. So Mohsin has an MBA from finance and operations. He then he's also GM for Travel Launch and the CEO of Calicut Heroes. I was just wondering, like, how you like, is there a connection between all of this? How you're, if you can tell us, like, how you became part of the volleyball team, how your volleyball journey started, it would be great.
So soon after my MBA, I just wanted to start a career in sports only.
Okay.
So actually, I joined with Beacon Sports, India's only private department volleyball team as of now. So I started with Beacon Sports, and when the COVID came, so everything was in a kind of a stack at that time. So the sports was nothing was happening. So at that time, we Beacon Sports, like our investors, we ourselves thought what we can do while we are stuck at home. So at
Right.
that time, when doing our brainstorming and all, we thought of having a new business initiative. That's what traveling is all about. So
Mm-hmm.
during the COVID time, we were much more into travel launches, and soon after the Prime Volleyball happened. So it was like both of them. It was not a hectic thing. It was a good to juggle with the things, but both are from the same house. So it's like it's like a more a homely thing only.
Yeah, they're completely different fields, right? So it must have been
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's all sports, the
yeah,
whole day you are working on something else. On the evening, you are going to a indoor or going to a field to play. That
right, right.
same thing. We are
Yeah,
into travel launch at the daytime, evening, it's all sports. So it's very,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
funny, like very energetic stuff. Yeah.
Right. And how did your so like volleyball? Were you always interested in volleyball? How did that come about?
Actually, not only into volleyball, I'm more into football. But
Okay.
whatever may happen, the sports is same. Whatever
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mode may be different, but the sports
yeah.
is always same. At the end, it matters. Whether we are playing good or not.
Right,
So
right,
it's yeah. I was not into volleyball. Being my hometown is not much into volleyball.
right.
Again, this Beacon Sports, we started volleyball over here. Now we have an academy. Everything is here. So the volleyball is getting rooted over here. Yeah.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Musin, for telling us that. Next, we have Vamsi, who also has an MBA and over 20 plus years of corporate experience.
Yeah.
If you could tell us how you ventured into sports, how I know you're part of a badminton and a volleyball league team, so you could tell us your journey. It would be
Yeah.
amazing to hear.
So my entry into the sports is mostly uh, driven by passion. Like I'm a sports enthusiast. I follow sports. I so after so when I wanted to take a break from the corporate life, then we got an opportunity to own a badminton franchise, the Premier Badminton League, which it all started in
Hmm.
2016 December. So since then, I am
Yeah,
associated with sports very actively. Then the pro volleyball happened. Then now the prime volleyball. So for the past 6 7 years, it's been sports in my life. So it's been pretty active, challenging, and encouraging. Yeah,
that's good to know. As long as this is where you always wanted to be, I think that's what matters. So yeah, that's great to hear.
absolutely, absolutely.
Um, Yeah. Next, we have Rakesh. He has a BTech in computer science, and I know you're a true football lover from what I've seen about you. And then I know you have a digital agency as well, and now you're also part of the volleyball Torpedoes, Bangalore Torpedoes team. So, is this how you start? Is this where like how you wanted to be, like where you are today? Is this how you wanted to be? Is that like how did you start your journey?
No, I have never planned for anything. It all just happened.
Yeah.
I was, uh, I was working in an NGO. I was a founder of an
Okay.
NGO first, and then a startup, a tech startup, and from there I went to doing music, and then I came to sports. Set up mostly worked in fan engagement in sports. I was part of the first pro volleyball league as head of fan engagement. Uh, with baseline, and
Right. Right.
then the opportunity came with Torpedoes
Hmm.
during the first season, the Prime Volleyball League. But otherwise, being in Bangalore, working in different sports, football, and fan engagement was the main thing. Jumping into a management role was big, but then sort of juggle with my responsibilities at baseline and at the Torpedoes. Happy to be here.
Great, great. That's great. Yeah, all of you have like all the like the auction. Just it was so much fun to watch. Like all the teams, the players, and definitely all the staff. Everything that goes into it. Well, I'm sure there's a lot that goes into like what goes on in front of the screen. So I just like want to know like is there as for the coaches or for the players. This is a question for everyone. Before like or after a match, like would you do you have like a kind of a checklist or like any to-do list that you like do so that the team is well settled before a match, like so that everything goes smoothly. And we can start with you, Rakesh, since we just yeah you can start and then we'll go on to the next.
See, last year was a major challenge for everybody because it happened in a bubble in COVID. So bubble restrictions
Right.
and in terms of travel and basic checks was a big deal because we had a lot of players fall ill in between. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure it's the case with all the teams. So it was really a race against time, and it really we had to move mountains to get 12 fit players on the team every time,
Right.
and every team had to go through this. Some of the coaches fell ill. Some it was everywhere. It
I'm
was
sure.
just our the whole responsibility of the league and every teams was just to put a show together because it was a mountain of challenges
Right.
that were in front of us. So I think that was a basic requirement to just keep everybody fit and you know put a show on.
Right.
The rest of it was secondary. Rest of it, people, and even the players took a lot on them to take the responsibility of just being there all the time because it was a collective responsibility to make this league happen in that first
Right.
season.
Right.
So I think
Yeah, exactly.
once that challenge was over, everything was smooth sailing.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, yeah,
And
definitely. The COVID coming into place, COVID being in place is definitely a much more bigger challenge than like how you would conduct a normal tournament, like you said. And Vamshi, do you have anything different that you had done, like about what Rakesh had spoken, like, or anything to add that you would like to?
I'd like
Yeah,
to
with
add, yes, he had a lot of
regards to the
things.
season one, I think
I was saying, yes, he had a lot of things to do.
Because
Yes.
it was in Hyderabad,
Yeah,
right?
so
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. So we had as we all know, I mean, we had to shift the venue of the league just 2 weeks prior to the start of the league, and getting everything in place in that 2 weeks was definitely a task. And together as a team, not just we, but the support from baseline and other teams, we could pull it off. And the kind of support we got from the government of Telangana and the sports authority here was amazing. I mean, they were very
right.
receptive and they were pro to doing this league in Hyderabad, keeping in view that we come back later for sure, in the
Yes.
years to come. So apart from from the coming to the management side, I think as Rakesh said, pretty much it was a bubble and everyone had a change. If some players were sick, some support staff was sick. So we used to kind of coming to your question of having a checklist kind of stuff. So I primarily would
Yeah.
make sure that the management team have two broad checklists. One is the match day, which there is no lenience. Match day checklist is one thing which everyone
Yeah.
has to follow for sure. There is no, because that's a
Right.
crucial day, and from the day one get up, one wakes up to the end of the match, it's clearly given to every member of the team, right from physio to player, coach, musher, everyone has their own
Yes.
schedule of things. And non-match days, we were a little lenient because a lot of other activities would jump in, like media interactions or sponsor activations or something like that. But yeah,
Right.
match days are no negotiable checklist.
Yeah. They have to stick to it, and there's no leniency there. I'm guessing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sense. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. But it was a great tournament, though. I mean, being from Hyderabad, I heard it, I heard about it. I've seen some of my friends share stories about it. So it was definitely a success, I would say. And what about you, Musin? Anything
yeah.
to add? How was it within your team, actually?
As like Vamshi and Rakesh said, it was really hectic
Yeah.
because it was happening in a bio bubble. This bio bubble was new for everyone among us, for the
Yes.
management, for the players, for the coaching staff, everyone, and we didn't know what's like how to cope up with the bio bubble. So like for the physio, for the trainers, it was more like what's happening, not in a bio bubble. So like
Right.
getting things like, especially I like what I remember is like for match day we need ice cubes for this ice bath. So for this Hyderabad climate, it's very hard to get ice
Yeah,
cubes,
yeah,
and we are not in a position to go out of the bubble. So getting it arranging it, everything was very hectic for us. And
wow.
what I want to add apart from this is like apart from the other two said is that the mental health of the players and those who are into the bio bubble, it was very important at that
Mhm.
time. Like people were so much, so much frustrations were happening. People are not able to go out, and they were not able to do what they used to do, like
Right.
roaming around, food from outside. A lot of things were at that time. But like the effort put by everyone, including the baseline and especially Wamshiji, everyone, it was a wonderful tournament. And actually the league was supposed to happen at Kochi. All of a sudden the venue changed to
Right.
Hyderabad. We were all in a kind of what is going to happen. But we was quite astonished the way which these people accommodate everything in and it was really quite a memorable time. Like I must add, like we had the Terraflex with us for the Kochi, and we had to transport it in a couple of days, and it was really good experience at that time.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, I think because of the bubble, everything, anything not like even something like the most normal thing, like you mentioned, the ice cubes, it just the effort to get it just exemplifies 10 times. I think, like you said, but yeah, in the end, I think everything worked out. I'm sure. I think a lot more effort went into it than it would have gone normally, but I think in the end, it all worked out and it went well.
Yes.
I'm sure everyone agrees. But that was that. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
I'm just
sharing.
just just to add on to that.
Rakesh.
I think the bubble life made us all a lot closer
Yes,
because,
Right.
exactly.
even, like you said, the basic things that
Absolutely.
you didn't have and somebody else had, it was basically a barter system. Can I get to a bully meet?
Yes.
So you have a bully meet. So can I share your training spot? So it was basically whatever you had, everybody had. It was,
Yeah, yeah.
we all met dinner together.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was
I
fun.
remember I used to ask Rakesh for his markers.
Yeah, marker pens
That-
and
yeah,
all those stuff.
Yes.
Because
that
everybody were
sounds fun.
together and you couldn't go out.
Right.
Uh, it was basically
And
that
one more thing,
oneness actually pulled this
yeah,
league.
one more thing I want to add is like when this time schedule for this lawn, this swimming pool, everything comes, we were first to like sort out which is going to be ours. Like it
Right,
was a
right.
quite a barter system at that time.
Yeah, I think everyone at the same place together, there's a lot of
Yeah.
coordination going on. Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be agreements and disagreements, but I think in the end, you have to do what's best. But yeah, that sounds like fun. Yeah. So yeah, thank you
Yeah,
a
it
lot. Thanks
was.
for sharing that. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
It, it was basically a boys' hostel.
So a lot of rowdiness also maybe.
That is the correct way to put it. Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
Yeah, that must have been an experience for sure.
yes.
That's great. That's
awesome.
this actually sounds like makes it more fun. Like the fact that everyone bonded so much. Might have been like a family also. Like even though at the end of the day you're again always competing with each other, but you like sure it must have been like family and friends just staying together for an extended period of time.
I don't know how the players and the coaching
Yeah,
staff were
and
glued to each other, but I must tell the operation, the management staff were so close to each other because we were all together in this. Like we knew like what's happening with the other team. So it was like more, very easy for us to get along with each other.
Great, great. That's good to know. So yeah, moving on. Maybe Musin, since you're on the screen right now, can you maybe name one moment or incident from season one, be it any game or match or like even any experience, like how you're talking about, like that which has become very memorable and will probably stay with you, with something that you will never forget.
Uh, as a management professional, what I have take with me is like we had David Lee with us for the first season, so
Right.
he has got an immense experience with playing in a lot of countries, these Olympics and everything. So the way he deal with the management, with the coach and every, it was quite memorable for us. The way he talked to the youngsters, the other people, the way it was very easy to handle him. Like with handling, what I mean is like if I say, David, you have an interview at 3 o'clock, he will be ready by 2:15, everything perfectly. That's the kind of spirit he had at that time. So what I remember the most is like having a good time with David. It is going to stay with me forever, and I'm sure Ragesh is going to have that at this season because David is joining with he has already joined with Bangalore, so it's a quite memorable thing for us. Yeah.
That's great to hear, Rakesh. Do you want to add to that, and also like maybe talk about what your memorable experience was from season one?
Memorable for the experience. Obviously, the best part aside, I think my most memorable experience was the first player turning COVID positive, and
Oh my,
that kind of wrecked the whole plan. Right? It was first day of training, and there's a player who's who has turned positive, and then it spread on and on and on, and at least we had 6 to 7 players positive. So that is when your all your management lessons come to you. Negotiate with the hotel for a single room isolation. The hotel policies were that you can't have any COVID positive patients in the premises. uh, but we somehow managed to convince them. That's when all your negotiating skills and your patience is tested. Then you have an individual diet plan for everybody because they're in isolation.
mm-hmm.
And then finally I tested positive for COVID,
Oh,
and
wow.
in between that, we did everything. But I think that made everybody closer. And second most memorable experience would be that first win ever, which I don't think will ever go away from my memory because it was the fifth set, 2-2 two sets each, and 14-14, and from there we won.
Wow.
And I think, my God, that was the most memorable. It was first win for as
Right, right.
for
Yeah.
us as a team. It was
Yeah.
the first ever win because we were making our debut
Yeah.
this season, last season, and
Right.
the first win. Then from there on, it everything just kept piling on. Whatever wins,
Right.
defeats didn't matter
Yeah.
because we got what we wanted.
So you have one good experience and then one not so good experience, I would say. But yeah, I mean, definitely. Like I think dealing with what you said that must have been very hard for sure. But yeah, I guess you pulled through and getting the first win is also great. So that's good to know. And yeah, next we have Vamshi. What about you, Vamshi? What do you have any? Do you, I'm sure you'll have one experience to talk about for sure. But what's the best one? Would you say?
So I would say three of them. One, apart from just working for the team, and I was also involved in the the whole shifting of the league from Cochin to Hyderabad, the whole stadium thing, the correspondence with the government and all this. That was one kind of a beautiful experience, I would say, because we were on the job kind of like 22 hours or 20 hours per day for sure. I mean, we were on the toes every time those days. And getting the stadium was not used for some days, so getting the whole basic amenities right from the stadium was a big challenge. And that was so those days we spent on working on the stadium, and these were really challenging and memorable. Second would be so we had an Argentinian duo, I would say, like coach and an analyst as our support
Right,
team,
right.
a part of our support team,
Mhm.
and working with them, and the challenges we faced in bridging the gap between the Indian players and the foreign coach and the analyst. And so the Indian players were not used to data-driven analysis till then. I mean, most of them haven't had this opportunity. So we thought we will give that experience to them. So they were watching their videos post match next day, then their analytics, where they were, how many points, the success rate, the positions where they were in mostly, and where what is the best strength on court. So these are analytics,
Right, right.
make them understand, and moreover the language barrier, because coach being an international, so he was speaking in English, and the communication gap was there. So that was a pretty interesting phase wherein I could learn a lot of things about volleyball. I just knew basic stuff, but with this job on hand, I could learn much more things about the game and the way it has to be read actually. And the third
Yeah,
one would
yeah.
be the reverse flick kick, which our libero did in the league against, I think,
Oh,
a match against Ahmedabad was that
right,
was
right.
the scene of the league for me. I mean, he was amazing. I mean, that will be stuck in my memory for a lifetime for sure. I mean,
I
I
think I
saw
remember
something like
seeing
that in
that.
football, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah, something in football it was pretty regular, but in volleyball, having doing that in that fraction of a second was amazing. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. I think I do remember what you're talking about. But yeah, like I'm sure, like you said, you'll remember that for the rest of your life. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah, sure.
That, that's an exciting
Scene
memory.
of the league, scene of the league for me as well.
For
Yes,
me as well. Same for all.
Yeah,
we have
amazing.
collective.
Yeah,
We have
And
collective views.
I mean, I would like to thank Vamshi for for the Hyderabad team for always trusting these young talents. They always do this thing when in this auction as well as for the last auction. They always do this, talents for the young, very young talents.
yeah, and
That's definitely.
I remember. I remember one incident during the auction for season one. So as we took Anand, the libero, into our team, as we won him, the whole Calicut team was clapping for us, and because they knew about him. So and when we bid for him and took him, and no, they were, and that was really a nice gesture from the Calicut team.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's great. So yeah, moving on, coming into some like technical, I wouldn't say technical, but I'm sure like on a daily basis, like there'll be a lot of moments of maybe disagreements with either players or coaches or like maybe vendors or staff. Is it like how frustrating it is for you, like, to handle this or manage it normally, and like, how do you handle it and not maybe like, not lose it, I would say. We can start with Vamshi, maybe. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where your personal management skills come into the picture. As a management person, so managing players from different backgrounds, having an international coach and an Indian coaches to support him, there were definitely points of disagreement in terms of well, right from
Right.
strategy to practice sessions and all. But I think end of the day, uh, we sailed through with little quarrels and little fights, but bottom line was the interest of the team. So that's where I think everyone understood and came on board, even though there were little disappointments for sure. But I mean, it's all for the team. That's a crux.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure, like you said, it
Yeah.
depends on your personal management skills. What about you, Musin? Do you have to add
Yeah.
anything? How is it different for
Yeah.
you?
As like Vamshiji said, it's like the players come from different departments, and it's the volleyball ecosystem is not that professional. So dealing with them, for me, it was like we were able to monetize almost 6 to 7 sponsors last time. So we had a lot of commitments with the sponsors. Like we had to provide so many creatives, videos, and all. So getting things done, and like the we creatives and all from these volleyball players. Those players are not used to these kind of photo shoots, these creatives, this dialogue delivery and all. It was very hard for me, like getting things, because I had this word with the sponsors. So getting things done from them again, while the games are happening, like with so many fan groups and so many well wishers of us usually call us and say that can we have a selfie video from some players, David Lee and all. So it's like every day on days I had to get 6 to 7 videos for different people, because during the game time we were not in a position to say like it's very hectic, we can't get you this thing. So that thing was there, and apart from that, there's always quarrels and fights and everything happens in the team. But at the end of the day, what happens, like we are a team. So it's like everything happens in the sports staff room, but when it comes to the players, head coach is the one who take care of everything.
Yeah.
So it was like yeah, it was a good memory, but again personal communication skill matters, how we treat players. And it was really hectic thing to treat these people, especially those people, those players are not used to this kind of atmosphere,
Yeah.
this kind of playing skills and the pressure they have on them. And watching them on the television and all, it was very quite good experience. I say good experience, I take the
Yeah.
positive side. Yeah.
Right. That's good to know. Yeah. And next, you, Rakesh, what do you have to say for this?
Last season was one such season where I wouldn't wanted to take any positives. COVID,
Oh, okay. I was like, wow.
but like I said, like Mohsen and Vamsi said, it's the same blueprint for every team. Yeah, you have
Right.
Yeah.
all sorts of
True.
disagreements in terms of who plays, who
Mm-hmm.
wants. And it is just how we negotiate with all the management staff, players. Some players are not happy with their game time, just to keep them motivated. I mean, this is stuff we've seen and grown up on. So it is your chance to play that role. So it is a learning curve for all of us, right? So
Right. Right.
you are in a volleyball ecosystem, like Mohsen said, which is not professional at all, and we are trying to change the face of volleyball. So that itself is a challenge. So,
Right.
like you said, players in a different environment where all of them come from, uh, apart from some, everybody come from a very humble background. So it is all sort of a big, deal for everybody to just face. So it is important for you as a management professional with the team just to keep everybody on the same page, or
Right.
motivate them in terms of defeat, wins.
Mm-hmm.
You don't over celebrate, you don't overcompensate, and during a defeat. So uh, just that, I think it was basically a extended university course for all of us as well, because we were also learning this on the job, because every day was a new challenge.
Right.
And since we were all committed to delivering to the sport, and volleyball as a whole, I think everybody just stuck together despite whatever differences everybody have. The only one intention was to deliver a quality product and change the face of Indian volleyball. So once you're motivated to deliver that big vision, everything is secondary.
Right.
Every challenge is minor in terms of that.
Right. Yeah,
Sure.
I'm sure.
I
Like,
just want to add one thing, like
yeah, sure.
there is no single day during this bio bubble, me and Rakesh, without cursing this bio bubble and COVID. We used to always do, always curse this bio bubble every day. Whenever we meet in the dining or in the corridor, wherever, even during the match day, we used to, like, when we are playing opposite each other, we were cursing this bio bubble and, getting things done.
We were basically asking each other, did you find a cheat code to order from Swiggy or Zomato?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm sure it was definitely a lot of pressure and hard, but like, yeah, I mean, it had to be done at the end of the day, I guess, and yeah, that's good to know. I mean, I'm sure.
And one point which Mohsen stressed on is also the mental health of all the players and everybody in the management, in terms of team owners too. Because everybody, once you enter, you couldn't exit it.
Right.
So in terms of everybody away from families without meeting them for almost the preseason, and then the season, everybody took it on their stride just to deliver a quality product. And I think that is exactly why we have. And at one point of time, nobody cared about who won or who lost. It was just about doing this relentlessly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, like you said, during the tournament it's different. During on a daily basis it's different. Like when we come to the auction, like again, I'm sure the way you handle things is different. Like you are at the table, like you have to draft player contracts, like you have to look at the coach requirements, you have to listen to owners. Um, like you also have to like probably arrange the stay, the travel, everything. I'm guessing goes through you. Like how was that before the auction right now, and during the auction, how did you cope with everything, since everything I'm sure must have been last minute a little bit. Like how was that, Rakesh? Rakesh, we can start with you.
Who's going first?
Yeah, since you're on screen, I was gonna just ask. Yeah.
I actually lost the question because the voice was.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So
No,
I
I was just
lost the
saying.
question because there was.
Right. And I was just saying, like, during the auction, like, how was it handling the pressure? Like, you were at the auction table where you had to, like, talk to, like, have look at different player contracts, look at what the coach's requirements are. Then you have to see what the owner's requirements are, organize the stay, the travel, everything. Like, how was that? How was it dealing with that? Like, how is it different from, like, maybe within the tournament on a daily basis? And how is it different at the auction?
Auction is basically, you need to find that one focal point, who should have a central, common vision, and
Right.
everybody around it just aligns to us. So we were glad that we had inputs from David, who was seen everything in volleyball. So it was basically deliver the team that he wanted. That was our
Right.
challenge, and everybody, including the ownership, the management, the sports staff, everything just revolved around that thought. So it was
Right.
basically, we had nailed on a strategy, and it was just going for whatever we wanted, and
Yeah. Yeah.
occasionally tested by Mr. Vamsi and team.
Would you like to add to that, Vamshi? What do you have to
So
say?
that was.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure during the auction we definitely had, a bit of cross. Both of us wanted the same player and we were bidding aggressively. So this is what I actually wanted also. Offline I was talking to Vishal about, there should be this, like Cochin Calicut derby. You should have Hyderabad Bangalore derby where, we fight not only just on court but also on the auction table, on the social media, so that we create that hype around the sport and, the fan base.
Right, right.
Yeah, it was
Absolutely.
it was it was real fun. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for
It
coming to
was
the
super fun.
auction, I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. And for the auction, I think most of the work happens much before, 1 week before the league or 10 days before the league. Luckily, we could get our support team flown into Hyderabad. We had 2-3 days of brainstorming sessions on getting our go-to players list shortlisted among the big pool of 500 plus players having. So, and that was one thing. And on the auction, it was more of uh, being smart with your purse and having focus on what you want. And luckily, we
Right,
could
right.
we could get some players at a better price than what we expected, and it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm sure. Yeah. It looked like fun. It was fun to watch, definitely. So I'm sure it must have been a little more, lot of pressure from your end, but definitely, I'm sure you guys had fun as
yeah,
well. Muhsin, what
yeah.
about you? What do you have to say? Uh,
As like
who's-
Rakesh and
yeah,
yeah, as like Rakesh and Vamshi said, like every coach has his own philosophy. Like he'll be having a philosophy like what his team need to be like. So for us, also like our coach has a philosophy, and we want to get all the people, all the players who can deliver that roles and who can play that role pretty good. And apart from that, there's another point to be kept in mind is like. As like us, every other team management knows about a player, so everyone is entitled to know everything, so we need to deal in that way. It's not like you are the smarter one and the other one are not like that. It's like everyone entitled to know everything, so we need to there is a kind of defense and attack in the auction. So this time everyone was doing that pretty good. Everyone wanted to make their team the same time, they want the other team to be
right.
compatible.
Yeah.
So it was a good experience, yes.
That's yeah. I'm sure. Like I know there's a lot of strategy going on from between all the teams. So, were you? Did you want to say something, Vamshi? Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I would just want to add to what Muhsin said. But among all the teams, I'm sure Calicut team and Kochi team were the most prepared because if you see the complete player list, most of the players are from Kerala, who they see day in and day out. I mean, we only have the
Right.
access to few videos, but they have access to the players themselves, and I'm sure they were pretty good on what they have got, and their homework, and
Right.
the
Yeah.
result shows by themselves. I mean,
Vamshiji, I want to add one more thing. One thing like, though it is like that, we have players from Haryana, Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, and all this type.
yeah, yeah, of course.
Great, great. This is a lot of yeah. This is very good information. I mean, everyone. I feel like everyone's perspective is the same, but also a little different. So it's nice to hear from all of you about this. So just coming to the auction, I do have a few questions about the team and the players that all of you got. First, I'll start with Rakesh first. I noticed that Bangalore has bid above 6 lakhs only for one player, that is Setu, and you got the player right. You were probably the only team who had the most amount left in their kitty, and why is that so? Like I noticed that you didn't bid for a lot of platinum and gold players. Like, was this a part of the strategy? What was how is that how you started off, or how was it planned beforehand?
Yeah, it was part of the strategy because we had set caps where we don't go overboard and spend for any particular player.
Right.
Also, uh, important note that we've already retained three players.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so so we came in looking for a certain specific skill set,
Right.
and that is the only money we want to pay for. But
Hmm.
fortunately we didn't have to pay for that, and we had to pay for something else, which is good. So money saved is money earned. And also our CFO was in attendance, so we just had to be good, good students there.
Right.
So, uh, so yeah, so we came in with a strategy of picking certain middle blockers because that would fill our team
Right.
because
Yeah.
we're the only one team which didn't retain a blocker or didn't have a foreign blocker. Uh, so that was a strategy which we went for, and we waited it out for them to come.
Right.
But we were tempted. We were tempted since we had the money. We were tempted to go
Yeah.
all out, but then it was good that we kept our calm and just waited it out, and then got
Right.
what we wanted at
Right.
at a very surprising price. We just turned back and look. Really, is this happening? Because we had allocated a lot of money for them, but
Right.
we got lucky.
So
I
that
think patience pays.
that's I guess that worked out well for you in the end. Um,
Yeah.
uh, just a follow-up question for Mr. Vamshi based on what you were saying. Like, I know I remember that Bangalore and Hyderabad were bidding for Setu, and just wanted to ask Vamshi, there was Setu always on your agenda to get at the auction, or was it just a tactic from your end to, like, maybe increase the price for Bangalore to make them shell out more money than they would have wanted to?
I would say both, for sure. But coming to Setu, I mean, as a player, he has that X factor with the kind of service he has. I mean, and
Right.
the kind of format we have, his service can be crucial because if he gets an ace, then it's a 2 point. Come on, I mean, in a 15-point game, 2 point any given point of view is a luxury, and that's the X
Right.
factor
Right.
he comes with, and we were definitely pretty. We were keen to have him on board for sure, and Bangalore guys took away. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Right. That's yeah, that was an interesting fight to look at. Actually, it was kind of
yeah,
entertaining, I would say. Yeah.
right.
Next, coming to Musin, I do have a question, similar question for you as well. Where I know Chirag Yadav, like, was he also always on your agenda? Like, I know Hyderabad was looking to buy him, and at a point it looked like they were willing to go like hired, like, hired to like get Chirag Yadav in the end. Is this something you had noticed? And is a similar question to what I'd asked Mamshi. Like, did you want to raise the price for Hyderabad? And in the end, do you think maybe was he always someone you wanted? Did it backfire, or like did you intend to raise the price for Hyderabad, or were you always keen on getting him as well?
Uh, actually, unlike other teams, we only retained two players,
Right. Yeah.
and there was no counter attacker in that league.
Yeah.
Only one Abil is there.
Yeah.
Still, so it's like when we look for a position, we always have option one, two, three, like that. For every position, we always have that.
Right.
So it was like Rohit is there available, who was not retained. Again, Chirag is there, Asmatullah is there, and a couple of other players were there. So actually, we went behind Rohit, but he went to a whopping amount. So the next, the basic idea is like everything depends on the lot. When
Right.
so the Rohit came first, then Chirag came. So if the other way around, if Chirag was coming at that, definitely he would have went for a much more bigger amount.
Right.
So it's like he was in our strategy. Definitely, we were looking to have him, and we are so happy to have him. He's going to be a great asset to our team. I'm sure about that. Yeah.
Right. That's great to hear. Yeah, it was like very, like, I think all these fights between the teams and like the bidding wars. I don't know how it goes on in the backstage, but on screen it looked entertaining to watch. Yes. Yes. Vamshi, please go ahead.
So just to add on this Chirag factor,
Right.
Chirag was part of our Hyderabad team during the pro volleyball season, and he was a
Okay.
reserve player. We brought him as a reserve, and he was, I think, 18 years old or something at that point of time,
Right.
18, 19 years old,
Right.
young boy. So I had a chance to have a look at his game during the practice session. He was not part
Yeah.
of the playing the 12 squad, but so he traveled with us for the whole season. So and he is an amazing talent. I mean, he's a big asset to Calicut for the future. I mean, with the chance that they can retain him for the next season as well. So I think he's a very big asset.
That's great.
Uh,
Um,
I just want to add one
Yeah.
thing. Like as you said, the auction is getting very intense. The reason is that the scouting is getting very intense these days because
yes,
every team
yes,
has their own scouts and they are looking for
yeah,
the talents over and across the country.
yes,
Like what
yes,
was happening in like apart from there is no geographical constraints this time.
right.
Like scouting is very intense. I mean, I hope Ragesh and Vamshiji can relate to that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of analysis that goes into it as well, right? Yeah.
Of course.
100%. Yeah.
100%.
So,
That's one of
yeah,
our jobs as well, to do the homework.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, next I just have like we have some. Can we have the creative on screen, please? We I noticed that there were some players that you had bid for that each of your teams couldn't get. Maybe we can start with Hyderabad. Um, can we have it on the screen, please? Yeah. Yeah, so I know Setu we just spoke about, but these are some of the Setu and Chirag both. But out of them, like out of these three players, is there a reason you couldn't fight for them apart from the kitty or apart from the money? Like, is there any other reason you didn't go further for them, Vamshi?
No, it was. I mean, Chirag, I think was a player which was who was right at the top of our list. But unfortunately, yeah. So coming to the purse, we have shortlisted. Okay, for every position we have certain budget allocated, and every player certain budget allocated. So we didn't want to disbalance that equation by going overboard for a particular player, and that was the only reason. I mean, so end of the day,
Right,
I think having a balanced team definitely has an impact. I think that's what we could achieve
right.
by being smart about our monies.
Right, right. Yeah, that makes sense. Uh,
Yeah.
in that case, coming to Bangalore, if we can have that on screen, I would ask you the same question where you went for four of these players. And I know you had a lot of money left in your kitty, Rakesh, but is there a reason you didn't go further for these players? Or did you have, like Vamshi had said, did you also allocate a budget for each of the players? Or is there any other reason?
Yes, we definitely, allocated a certain budget to the players
Right.
that we wanted. But
Hmm.
like I said, the priority for us was to, fill the middle blocker position, and
Yep.
we knew that they would come later, right?
Hmm.
Because they were bronze and silver.
Right.
So we were just waiting for them. I mean, we were just waiting with the money for them, and every player tempted us. We had the money, and we were tempted to go for everybody. And Hardeep was one we definitely wanted big,
Right.
and we had to like, okay, no, it's like resisting to food or something, right? You have biryani in front of you, but you don't want to have it because you're on diet. It was like we were on a blocker diet. We just wanted them, and we had to resist every other
Right.
temptation there was, because I mean we could go for anybody, because and we still
Because
ended up
yeah.
with saving a lot of money. But we had a brief. We needed young blockers,
Hmm.
and we had a certain skill set to match.
Right.
So we're just waiting for them. Patience paid, like I said earlier, and we got them.
That's good to know. I mean, and I must say you definitely resisted pretty well. The diet worked out, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah. What about you, Muhsin? We have some players on the screen from Calicut as well. Uh, Now, I know Ashmatullah went to Hyderabad. What was the reason you didn't go further for these two players? Apart from the money in your kitty, do you have any particular reason?
As like Vamshiji and Ragesh said, like we have a plan for like what we are going to spend maximum for a certain player. But when it comes for Karthik, yeah, we went for a bit. But again, we thought of having a balanced team in terms of talent as well as in terms of experience and these young talents. So we already have Jerome, with us. Like the that was a strategy. When it comes for Ashmatullah, that department was pretty good with us. Like we got Chirag, then we got Ashwin
Yeah.
Raj. That department was pretty good for us. So it was
Yeah,
more
yeah.
like a gambling stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And when it comes to Karthik, I'm probably sure Mumbai came in with all guns blazing since they're a new team and they probably wanted to get the big games. Big names, it felt like, at least in the beginning. So they might have gone way higher than what you had initially planned. So that's an interesting thought to hear. Um,
Maithili actually Karthik
I
was
could see I could see everybody looking at us when Karthik's. I was just saying I could see everybody looking
right.
at us when Karthik came on the screen,
Yes.
and we were like,
yeah.
"Yeah, we'll go wait."
Actually, we had Karthik in the first season of Pro Volleyball, so we know how Karthik is going to be
Right, right.
instrumental for Mumbai.
Yeah,
So I must tell you, Karthik is going to be an amazing ad for Mumbai. He's going to be, he's going to bring his expertise and yeah, that vibe into the team.
yeah, yeah. I'm sure. Yes. Yeah, there were a
Sure.
lot of good experienced
Absolutely.
players that were on the auction that, like, the big fights were going on for. But let's see how it turns out in the season two, and then let's see how everything goes. I'm sure a lot of effort has to be put in, even if they're big names. Like, a lot of effort has to be put into, like, the team as well. So that would be interesting to watch. Another question for all of you again. And you have to be honest, if you like, as much as you can. So I'll start with Vamshi. So who do you think has the best squad other than you, and why? I'm sure, like, you'll say yours is definitely the best squad, but, like, other than you, who do you think we should be watching out for, and why?
I think, yeah, to be diplomatic, every team has a balanced side. But I think Kochi scores a bit in certain departments, especially with Rohit on board and Vipul and Rohit, they play together all through the year. I mean, that's a good combination and a lethal combination. And I think Calicut was, I mean, with Ukra Pandian as a setter with the kind of experience he has, he's going to be a big X factor this season because last year he didn't have a good season, and I think he's going to be a big X factor this season.
Right.
And yeah, Calicut is a good side for sure. And with Pankaj in Bangalore, I mean, he's a wonderful champion. I mean, I love his attitude on court and the way he drives his team around. And if he's in good form, then I'm sorry. I mean, he's the best. So I think, yeah, Kochi for me is a good side on
Right.
paper.
Yeah.
And Ukrapandian brings that X factor to the Calicut team.
Yeah.
With, of course, with Jerome Vinith around, I think we can expect some fireworks for sure.
Okay. Sounds, yeah,
Yeah,
that's good to know, and thank you actually for talking, speaking honestly about this, Vamshi. And next,
yeah.
what about you? What do you think? So, who do you think is the best squad, apart from Calicut, obviously? But yeah,
uh, as like Vamshiji said, every team has their own, yeah, like ups and downs. Like when some department is pretty good, the other department is kind of, yeah. But I must tell you, like Kolkata is a team to watch out. There is no much change from their last season. Ashwin is there,
right,
then Vinith is there. So it's pretty good. And again, when it comes for Hyderabad, they have Trent and they have so many young talents with them,
right.
and but I'm looking for a very intense competition, very intense fight this season because it's 8 teams and it's going to be very intense. So at this moment I'm not in a position to say who is pretty good or bad, but I must tell yeah, Kochi is a good team. Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Looks like both of you have agreed that Kochi is a good team. What about you, Rakesh? What do you have to say?
No, I would always want to believe that we are the underdogs. So love the underdog story.
Yeah,
So
yeah, always,
so want to mount a challenge. That's all. But
yes,
बाकी सब हम देख लेंगे यार.
right.
We'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that
Like you
that's
said,
good to hear.
like Vamsi said, that's what Pankaj Sharma says always. He's an army guy. तो कर हर
Oh,
मैदान
Allah.
फतेह.
Yeah.
Wow. that's
So
that's
yeah.
that's great. Let's hope we have a new champion this time, and hopefully it's one of you guys. Just one last question we have.
Oh, we all hope that. We all hope that. I can tell you that.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, just one last question we had actually from the audience in one of the platforms. I know you were talking about the mental health of players and everything during season one, during in the bubble and everything. But how did your family or your wives manage to stay away? Like, how were they for the 1 month? Like, how was that? Like, did you get a lot of complaints from them? How was that? How was that experience? Let's start with Musin, maybe. Yeah.
Since I'm the youngest one,
Must have been
yeah.
a little bit easier comparatively.
Yeah, for me it's like my family. I think, yeah, they know how I'm passionate about this and how much
Right,
I'm
right.
happy about this. So it's like, yeah, they know how good I'm doing over there. So they're really happy for it and they do support very good. Yeah, but there is
Yeah,
no, yeah, there is no confusion. I think like it's pretty good to go out and you are doing something for the whole year and you are saying about for the every day of the other year and you are waiting for the next season. It's a good thing, it's a good thing.
yeah, yeah, sure. What about for you, Mamsi? How was it? I mean, it was in Hyderabad, like, but I'm sure you were still in the bubble, right? So,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's. I think my family got used to it. I mean, my whole professional life has been a lot of travel, a lot of
right, right.
staying away from home for long durations. Uh, Especially, I mean, the main thing what I make sure is when I'm there at home, I'm with them 100%. So I don't generally attend calls when
Yeah,
I'm home. I'm home very little time, but
yeah,
that time I make sure that I'm there with the family 100%. And and
100%.
and when I'm away, they don't disturb
Right.
me as well. So that's a clear understanding. So
Okay. Yeah. That's good. As long as you have that black and white area, that's good. That's good. And what about you,
yeah,
Rakesh?
yeah,
How was
yeah.
it for you?
I'm just thinking whether they were happy. Uh,
Uh,
but jokes aside, the it was good. I mean, it's a mixed feeling, right?
right, right. Yeah,
You have a task to do. You're cut out to do that.
yeah,
Plus, you need to care for the rest of the family
yeah,
also. So I think sort of managed. Again, I now have to sort of do all the pre-season trips just to keep everybody happy so that we can be
yeah.
away for a month or two.
To pacify them.
But
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's the challenges that comes with your
right.
profession, and I'm sure
Yeah,
they're smart enough to understand that.
yeah,
And it is what we would do the same as well if the spouses had to travel. So like, on work. So I think it's a give and take,
yeah,
and it comes from a place of mutual respect, and
yeah.
that's what it is.
That's great to hear. That's good that the love and support you get from the family is, like, always there. So, yeah, that's all the questions we have for you, Rakesh, Vamshi, and Musin. Thank you so much for coming on the show and answering all our questions. Just like we would love to hear some parting words from you, maybe about your plans for season two. Any like specific player you want us to watch out for from your particular team. So maybe we'll start with Musin and then Vamsi and Rakesh, and that's all we have for you from here.
I, I must say, like, watch out for Calicut heroes. Keep supporting. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Definitely. What do you have to respond to that, Vamshi and Rakesh?
Sorry,
I'd say
I didn't get what Mohsin has said.
Oh,
Uh,
Musin said, "Watch out for Calicut heroes."
Of course. As I said, I mean there are some ex players where they can have a huge impact on the result of the game. So I'm sure we are definitely watching and having our plans against them. But yeah, I mean from our side, it's going to be this season is going to be more of a marketing stuff. We will be investing a lot of time, energy, and money into promoting the team,
That's cool.
and the league as well. Hatch drawing huge, we are drawing huge plans for marketing, because the viewership and the followers we should have makes a lot of it's very important, because this is a season where we have to take a big leap in terms of following
Right.
or viewership. I mean, especially where we have multiple leagues happening, trying to catch the eyeballs of the Indian population, which is, luckily we had a good start
Yeah.
compared to other leagues, and we want to just put our foot strongly on the marketing aspect of the game.
Right, right. That definitely makes sense. Like competing with the likes of different sports in the country must be hard. But like you said, I think concentrating on marketing is definitely one of the main key takeaways that we have. And then, yeah. What about you, Rakesh?
Sure.
What do you have to say? Any parting words or for any future plans that Bangalore has?
Yeah, big time. I mean, like what Amsi said, the league has to grow, and that is one common agenda with everybody. I think you'll be hearing a lot from a lot of teams in terms of announcements and stuff, because one, we've all taken a concrete decision that the league must grow, and along with it, all the teams. So major initiatives in fan engagement, academies, grassroots, all that,
Yeah.
definitely, because that's how the sport will grow and that's how the audience will grow.
Right.
More participation to build the fan
And
engagement, and the stellar audience that we got in a bubble.
right.
So imagine a
How
full
it-
stadium in Kochi, in whichever venue comes next.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just can't wait for Calicut versus Kochi in Kochi.
So do
I
we. Yeah, so do we.
I've been there controlling the two sides. I won't be doing that, but I just want to be in the audience doing that. I hope Kochi is watching this, because it was a 5-0 when they did that last time from Calicut. One of the best days in sport for me. It was amazing. It was a celebration of volleyball, and that's how it should be.
Right. Yeah.
Apart from banter and everything, like responding to Muhsin, like he said, watch out for Calicut heroes. I would say we are waiting.
That's exciting, and yeah, let's see. This sounds like a good. We can't wait for season two for sure. And Calicut versus Kochi sounds like an amazing, interesting match to watch out for. I'm definitely going to tune into that. That's it. We had that's all. That's all from us, guys. Thank you so much, Rakesh, Vamshi, and Mohsin for joining us. It was very interesting to understand your perspective and your future plans.
Thank you.
Good luck to all your teams. Hope to see a good fight for the cup between your respective teams. And that's it from us. I would like to thank all the viewers for joining us. Hope everyone had fun on this episode.
Thank,
We
thank
at
you so
Basic
much.
Sports definitely
Thank
did.
you.
Yeah, and the highlights and the recorded video will be available on YouTube. So don't forget to join us for our next episode of Volleytalk Season 2. Have a great evening and see you soon. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mikey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining. It was great talking to all of you. Thanks. And this will end soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you much. Yeah. Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
Rakesh. Bye,
Thank you.
Muhsin.